Hey everyone, welcome to November's subscription box. We have a new face. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. I'm Danny. I'm the head glowstone ring maker over at Patrick Adair Designs, and I'm just going to be helping out with the subscription box this month.
Yes, so Danny is an expert glowstone ring maker. At this point, he has absolutely made more glowstone rings in his career than I have, which is kind of crazy to say because I've made, I feel like, thousands of glowstone rings. So pretty wild. Danny knows his stuff. The idea here is we're going to have him help out with the channel. That way we can put out more content besides just the monthly subscription boxes. So let us know some feedback down in the comments below. But without further ado, let's just get back to what we normally do, which is the subscription box. And let's go ahead and unbox it, see what we've got.
Alright, so first step, we're going to be crushing up some of our crimson red opal. We just want to make sure it's in some pretty small pieces. It's going to be acting as kind of a guide for when we add a whole lot more opal later on. Next, we're going to be mixing our color pigment with our glow powder. So we're going to be using just that clear, uncolored red glow powder, and we're going to be mixing in our rusty red color pigment. With this one, we just wanted it to be a little bit more of a metallic-y red. And then I'm actually going to add a little bit of the crimson red pigment as well here in a second. Next, we're going to be prepping our ring mandrel. I like to just do a little bit of electrical tape just to make sure that we don't crack the ceramic blank when we put it on there. Next, we're going to use a little bit of our super thin adhesive and just fill in that blank with powder. And we're going to then put in some of those opals that we crushed up. And they're going to act as kind of a guide for later on when we add a whole lot more stuff. So as you can see, I'm just kind of making sure that they're not necessarily evenly spaced, but kind of spread out. Next, we're going to prep our garnet. We're just going to crush it up into, once again, some smaller pieces. We want a whole lot more of the crimson red opal than the garnet. So it's going to be mostly a nice crimson red opal spread throughout. And then every once in a while, you're going to get hints of that garnet, which is just going to help add a nice depth to our ring. Alright, so here I'm using our medium CA adhesive, and I'm just putting it over a little section of the ring and then filling it in with as much of that opal as I can pack in there. Next, we do a little bit of our super thin just to fill in any cracks, and we're going to spray that with some accelerator just to make sure it cures up really nicely. Alright, now I'm going to take our Dremel and just take the whole thing back down until it's even with the ring blank. I just use water just to make sure that I'm not overheating the CA adhesive so that it doesn't gum up and doesn't discolor in any places. Alright, now that we've finished up with the Dremel, I'm going to dry the ring off and I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm actually going to go through and cut out any of these air bubbles that you can see that form in the ring, and then we're going to go ahead and fill those in with some more super thin adhesive. We're just being really careful as we do it just to make sure that each air bubble gets filled all the way up. That way we don't have any remaining air bubbles. Alright, once we do that, I'm going to add a little bit more just to make sure we get everything covered and hit it with a little bit more accelerator. Then we're going to go ahead and use our Dremel once again to just take the ring back down even with the blank. And then we're going to go ahead and start our sanding process, starting off at a 220 grit sandpaper and working our way up to 1200. As someone that makes a lot of these glowstone rings, I'm just making sure to use a lot of water just to really prevent any heat buildup, and it helps protect my fingers from blisters. And then it also helps keep your ring nice and clean and gives it a really even finish because you're making sure to wash off any of the fine particles that you're sanding. That way they don't get caught between the sandpaper and the ring, causing any weird divots or scratches later on. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and use our Astrotech all-in-one polish. This is our step 2 polish, but it's a really good all-in-one polish. So we're just going to make sure to cover up the whole ring with that and just do a nice quick polish on it to give it a nice shine. All right, and as you can see, it turned out really nicely. We got a ton of that opal in there. And then every once in a while you see those nice little deep sections with the garnet. It just adds a nice little contrast between the opal and then that rusty crimson red background. We wanted it to mostly be opal, so we made sure to just jam pack it and have a nice little background there. So I'm happy with how this turned out. I think it looks really nice.